Namaskar. Welcome to the lesson number 4 under the chapter 1, the fundamentals. In this lesson, I am going to explain you about the important topic called key planets. Key planets for an event. What are key planets? Key planets are nothing but those planets with a significant grouping of favorable or unfavorable houses in their self-signification for a particular event. In other words, we would have studied in the previous lesson about the self-signification of each planet based on their grouping of houses from CL to OCC to CST and CSL, whether that planet is having favorable house grouping for a particular event or unfavorable house grouping for a particular event, its strength is being considered. Sometimes many planets, out of 9 planets, many planets can have mixed significations for an event. It means a planet can have some houses in its self-signification that is common for the particular planet. But that houses can be favorable for an event. For another event, it cannot be favorable or it can be a mixed planet. So, while studying a chart for a particular event, out of 9 planets, according to the event, we are going to discuss each planet, it is having favorable grouping or unfavorable grouping of houses. So, in order to identify which are the planets are favorable house grouping planets or unfavorable house grouping planets or mixed favorable, grouping of planets, houses. So, we give the term called key planet. If a planet is having good grouping of favorable houses in its self-signification for an event, that is called as favorable key planet. And similarly, a planet with a grouping of unfavorable house grouping in self-significations for an event is called as unfavorable key planet. Similarly, when a planet is having both favorable and also unfavorable grouping of houses in its self-signification, it is called as mixed key planet. So, all the 9 planets are grouped majorly into the favorable key planet or unfavorable or mixed key planet for an event. Under the favorable key planet, there can be range. Under the unfavorable key planet, there can be range, depending on the grouping of the favorable and unfavorable houses in their self-signification, starting from CL to the up to the CSL. A planet can have favorable key planet. It can be considered as, yes, it is having favorable grouping of houses. In CL, OCC, CST, and CSL, in all the levels, it is having that favorable grouping. It is going to be very strong. Similarly, on the unfavorable side also, a planet it is having in its self-signification from CL to CSL, all the unfavorable houses, then it means it is going to be very strongly unfavorable. In other words, out of CL, OCC, CST, and CSL, majority of the levels are consequently having the grouping of favorable or unfavorable. They are considered as strongly favorable or unfavorable, respectively. I hope you would have understood. Among the favorable, maybe 2-3 planets can be coming under the favorable key planets. A planet, favorable key planet, along with the role of the primary house, along with the role of the 11th house, along with the role of the Lagna, then that planet is going to be very strongly favorable. Similarly, on the unfavorable side, a planet can have unfavorable grouping of houses, but if it is having, along with that unfavorable, it is also having 8th house and 12th house, which are all unfavorable to the Lagna, also joining hands with the unfavorable, then that unfavorable key planet is going to be very strongly unfavorable. I hope you would have understood. Now let me explain about some general rules under key planets. Under the key planets, favorable or unfavorable key planets, As I said, there can be many favorable key planets or there can be many unfavorable key planets or mixed key planets also in a chart for a particular event. But if a key planet, if it is a free planet, what is free planet? That we already discussed. A free planet itself is a key planet. Then that planet is getting additional strength. It is going to be very strong, that we have to keep it in mind. If we have free planet, it is a favorable key planet or unfavorable key planet, it is going to be very strong. And similarly, if your key planet is a node, Rahu or Ketu is is a key planet, yes, we have to give importance. And presence of primary house in that, key planet. Suppose marriage event, for example, primary house is 7th house for the favorable side, unfavorable side is 6th house. A favorable key planet, if it is having 7th house in self-significations, and that is going to be very strong. If it is unfavorable side, unfavorable key planet having got the primary house of 6th house in needs, then it is going to be more unfavorable. So role of primary house. So if the houses are, especially in CL and CSL, it is going to be very strong. 7th Lord itself is a good key planet, or 7th sublord itself is a good key planet. So that way it is going to be very strong. Similarly, as I said earlier, like primary house, a planet is having in its favorable, if it is a favorable key planet, it is having Lagna and 11th house in itself. That is going to be very strong. And similarly, if a planet is having Lagna, 8th house and 12th house in self also come in unfavorable KP, it is going to be more unfavorable. I will explain. It means what? Lagna is always indicating the Lagna, the native. If in a favorable key planet, Lagna plus favorable means Lagna is going to experience or going to execute that favorable key planet on its own. It is going to be strong. Similarly, on the unfavorable side, when Lagna also present along with that unfavorable, Lagna is going to experience strong obstacles or hurdles, or is going to be more unfavorable on its own. So whenever Lagna is playing role, we have to be careful. Whenever primary house is also playing, we have to be very careful. I will tell you how. Suppose a planet, if it is a primary house ruler, given the note here, if your planet is cuspal lord of the 7th house, but it is having unfavorable grouping of houses for the 7th house matters in, say, in OCC or CST or in CSL. It means in remaining of the self-signification, it is having grouping of unfavorable houses which is not supporting to the 7th house matters. It will be grouped under unfavorable only, but there can be other planets also coming under unfavorable, but this is going to be significantly unfavorable because 7th Lord itself is unfavorable. 7th house matters are going to face unfavorable. So that is going to be more unfavorable. Similarly, if it is 7th cuspal sublord itself having unfavorable houses to the 7th house matter, it is significantly unfavorable. So that way, whenever primary house for any event, or whenever Lagna is playing role, Lagna or primary house, whether favorable or unfavorable, 11th house, 8th house, and 12th house are playing in the self-signification, especially 8th Lord is playing, 12th Lord is playing, or 8th occupant, or 8th sublord, 12th sublord, they're all playing. Lagna Lord, Lagna occupant, Lagna sublord, if they are all playing, we have to be attentive. It means what? That planet is owning the important house. If that planet itself in other self-signification, the remaining self-significations are having other unfavorable grouping, it is going to be more unfavorable. I hope you would have understood. Similarly, like a Lagna Lord, I said, if Badhaga Lord also, suppose if a planet is unfavorable key planet, and that planet itself is a Badhaga Lord, it is going to be more unfavorable. It means what? out of the key planets, a planet, if it is a free planet, or if it is a node planet, or a planet is having primary house and Lagna 11th house on the favorable side, or 8 and 12 houses on the unfavorable side, and also Bhataka Lord in the unfavorable side if it is present, and the unfavorable key planet if it is present, it is going to be very strong. That we have to keep it in mind. I hope you would have understood. Now I'm going to explain you about the impact of the support planets. It means all these, I was telling about the key planets for that event, favorable or unfavorable key planets. They can be playing role as star lord or sublord for other planets, right? So those planets will get the influence of these favorable key planet or unfavorable key planet as their rulers. I'll be explaining when we are going to study the each planet's complete signification step by step. I'll be explaining in detail, but still what you have to keep it in mind. Among the key planets, the key planets can be acting as the star lord or sublord for other planet. That is, directly they are going to favor to other planets or unfavor to the other planet. But those sometime what will happen, those planets will be also playing in supports. It means, suppose, for example, you take Venus is a good key planet for the marriage, for example. The planet which is in the star of Venus or in the sub of Venus is they are going to give favorable, favor to the marriage prospects. They are going to give this because of the Venus is the nakshatra, the sublord. Of course, depending on the source signification, that impact will vary. But for your understanding, because I think that the favorable key planet can be star lord or sublord for other planet. Similarly, that planet Venus can be Rasi lord for some planet. The Venus can give its influence to other planet by way of conjunction, or any planet aspected by Venus also will get that Venus significations. So that way, these favorable key planets or unfavorable key planets can be playing role for other planet by way of supports. So when favorable key planet is having favorable key planet in its supports, automatically favorable strength is going to be increased. Similarly, unfavorable key planet in its having in its in its supports having other unfavorable, automatically unfavorable strength is going to be increased logically. So let me tell the different combinations and what the impact of the key planets in their supports. Key planets, or we call it as KPs in short. For example, in self, the planet is favorable key planet. In its supports, it is also having grouping of favorable key planets. Suppose one key planet is present, means impact is going to be to a certain extent. If multiple key planets are present in a planet supports, automatically that impact is going to be very strong. So favorable key planets having got another favorable key planets in its supports, automatically favorable strength is going to increase. Similarly, unfavorable key planets having got unfavorable key planet in supports, unfavorable strength is going to increase, right? You can see if a planet is a favorable key planet, but in its supports, if it is having unfavorable key planets, what will happen? The favorable strength will be reduced due to the obstacles given by the unfavorable key planet in its supports. A planet is having good significations, but in its supports, it is being influenced by many unfavorable key planets. Obviously, the favorable strength are going to be reduced. It cannot become unfavorable. Its complete signification will get reduced because of the unfavorable significations of the planets in supports. Suppose the planet is unfavorable on its own, but in supports it is having favorable key planet strongly. Then automatically what will happen? Unfavorable key planet of the self will get reduced. It means what? Self is primary, supports are going to be whether it is going to increase or decrease the strength of the self planet. Suppose a planet is a mixed key planet. It is having both favorable and unfavorable. But in its suppose it is having strong favorable key planets. What will give? The favorable key planet will support to the favorable key planets of the cell. So the favorable strength of the cell will increase than the unfavorable. Similarly, in a mixed key planet, in suppose unfavorable key planets are present strongly, the unfavorable strength of the mixed key planet will be increased than the favorable. I hope you would have understood the impact of the support planets. For example, if you, as I said, no, Venus is a strong key planet. It's a favorable key planet, for example. If it is a free planet also, as I said, if it is a free planet, it's going to be very strong. It means a free planet can be very strong, favorable key planet. So a planet which is favorable in itself, it can be having some moderate favorable houses, but it is having Venus in its supports, automatically that planet will get the strong signification of that support of the Venus. So what we have to check, we have to check each planet's self-signification, whether it is favorable key planet or it is coming under mixed or unfavorable. Whether that is going to be completely is going to be the same? No. Depending on the influence of the support planets. Support planets influence whether it favorable is also added or unfavorable is added to the self, that key planet strength will be increased or decreased. Please understand, because of the support that self-significations planet, favorable cannot become unfavorable or unfavorable cannot become favorable just because of the supports. But favorable can be increased or decreased, or unfavorable can be increased or decreased. I hope you would have understood the logic in this. Now I am going to explain you about the importance of the key planets. The key planets and their importance in predictions. Finding favorable or unfavorable key planets for an event are important while analyzing a chart for an event. Especially in the timing of event and DBA predictions, the role of key planets will be significantly playing role. By identifying the planets which are all having favorable or unfavorable key planets in their rulers, it means what? A planet can have a good key planet in its star lord or sublord, or a planet can have unfavorable key planet for an event in its ruler as star lord or sublord. So it can directly get the influence of the favorable or unfavorable key planets or through their supports, as we discussed. By that way, we can estimate the overall influence of the favorable or unfavorable houses a particular planet is having. I will explain how this key planet is more useful in prediction point of view. Suppose when you are going to study Dasa Bugdi planets, by studying the favorable key planets and unfavorable key planets of the Dasa Lord, it will be more useful in finding the Bhukti Lord, which is going to give supportive effect to the Dasa Lord. It means role of favorable or unfavorable key planet of the Dasa Lord will have significant influence on the Bhukti Lord or Antara Lord. For example, Dasa Lord is Venus. Venus is Dasa Lord is favorable for the event, for example, for the event of marriage. In that Venus Dasa, you find that Jupiter is a strong, favorable key planet, which is making the Dasa Lord is favorable for the event. That Jupiter is a strong key planet. The Bugdi Lord, there can be many Bugdi Lords. Out of them, the Bhukti Lord which is under the influence of this Jupiter, that is going to be more favorable Bhukti Lord for that Dasa Lord for the particular event. Similarly, Antaralad. These DBA predictions, that role of key planets, everything I will explain in detail when you are going to talk about the DBA predictions. But what you have to keep it in mind, key planets of the Dasa Lord will be playing significant role in the Bugdi Lord, directly as the ruler or as the support planets. Similarly, Antara Lord also, that is role of favorable or unfavorable key planet of the Bugdi Lord will have significant influence on the Antara Lord. Suppose the Dasa Lord itself is a favorable key planet or unfavorable key planet, its role on the Bugdi Lord is very much important. It will be very significant. So this way it will be more useful in identifying the Dasa Bugdi period, that is timing of event, and also for predictions. What I'm trying to say that a planet as a Bugdi Lord will have some signification, some key planets. That Bugdi Lord key planet is also playing role in the Dasa Lord. It means Dasa Lord's key planet is playing role in the Bugdi Lord, then that the Bugdi Lord is going to be more compatibly working with the Dasa Lord. So Dasa Lord's key planet, if we are able to identify that key planet, if it is playing role in the Bugdi Lord, that Bugdi Lord is having some direct connection to the Dasa Lord, and it will get the influence of the Dasa Lord significantly. That way we can identify the connection between the Dasa and Bugdi and their strength also in giving the predictions. Those things and all, as I said, I will explain in detail under DBA prediction and also one more topic called PILT connections. Now, you can see some general points, some useful points that to be kept in mind in key planets. Out of 9 planets, if you feel many planets are favorable key planets or many planets are unfavorable key planets, we can find. But whatever may be the key planets for an event, along with that, trouble giving houses to the event, that is 8 and 12 houses grouping, also if it is present, then only that unfavorable key planet is going to be more unfavorable. That's what I said also. So while we are studying all the 9 planets, presence of less number of unfavorable key planets. Suppose out of 9 planets, only 2-3 planets are unfavorable key planets for an event, and also without the 8 and 12 grouping, it indicates that overall lesser troubles or struggles is indicated in that particular house matters in life. Because only these planets, only less number of planets are unfavorable, means only those planets are going to give their impact to the other planet. So there will be less influence of those planets. So it means what? Less number of unfavorable key planets for an event in a chart, that too without the 8 and 12 grouping, indicates overall lesser troubles or struggles in that particular house matters in life that native will experience. Similarly, if it is favorable key planets to an event, along with that, favorable houses to the Lagna also present, and there are many planets are having such grouping. It means many planets are having such a favorable grouping and having got more number of favorable key planets present in the chart indicates overall good prosperity in the particular house matters in life. I hope you have understood. When many planets are having favorable key planets for an event, it indicates indirectly that overall that native will experience favorable for the particular event. Suppose many planets are having unfavorable grouping, unfavorable key planets or mixed key planets, only many planets are present in the chart, it indicates that overall that native is going to experience favorable, good prosperity in the particular house matters. It is indicating some sort of clue. Based on that, we cannot decide, but by looking at all 9 planets individually, its self-signification strength by way of key planets, we can identify overall that planet, that chart is having favorable strength for the event or unfavorable strength is more for the particular event. I hope you would have understood. Now let me explain about the key planets in the example. The event, let us choose marriage. We know that for the marriage event, the favorable houses and the primary house is 7th house and unfavorable primary house is 6th house. And apart from that 7th house, 2nd house, 11th house, 5th house, 3rd house, and 9th house, and of course, Lagna also coming under the favorable. On the unfavorable side, apart from the 6th house, 8th house, 12th house, and 10th house and 4th house are coming under the unfavorable. These two are favorable grouping. So, for all the other events, how the favorable houses and what are the unfavorable houses, I will be explaining in a different lesson. Now, let us focus on the key planets. Look at the planet Ketu. Ketu is having OCC 7 and CSL 9. This is the primary. There is the first planet, primary planet. Jupiter is the second planet, is having 7 and 1 on the favorable side. 7th Lord, 10th Lord occupying 4th house, but Star Lord for Lagna and Sublord for 10. Though it is having favorable 7th house and Lagna also, but it is having 4 and 10. But 4 and 10 are not detrimental houses, but they are not supportive, but they are not detrimental. So it means what? It is a mixed one, but favorable side on the higher side. If that unfavorable, it is having 6th house and 8th house and 12th house, then unfavorable strength will be increased. Now this is not completely unfavorable. So Ketu, we can say, is a favorable key planet because based on its self-signification, it is favorable. Second planet is not that much unfavorable. It is also having favorable grouping. So it is favorable key planet. Venus, 5th Lord, 12th Lord occupying 7th house, 3, 7, 11 Star Lord and 3rd Sublord and 12th Sublord. Though 12 and 12 are present, they are not completely unfavorable. But 5 moving towards 7, 3, 7, 11 and 3, that is a very good key planet, favorable key planet. That too, it is a free planet, so it is very strong. Next comes Sun. Sun is 3rd Lord occupying 7th house. No other favorable, no other unfavorable in the remaining levels. It is also favorable. 3rd Lord occupying 7th house, presence of 7th house, and 3rd moving towards 4th is also good. Now comes the Moon. 2nd Lord occupying 6th house, 4, 8, 12 Star Lord and 6 Sublord. You can see all are in red color. The two with the grouping of 6, 4, 8, 12 and 6 Sublord itself. Though 2nd house is supportive to the marriage because of family, but it is 8th house to the 7th house. It is getting supported by 6, 4, 8, 12 and 6. This is unfavorable, strong unfavorable key planet for the event of marriage. Next, Mars, 6th Lord. So in the CL, it is 6th Lord, unfavorable to the primary house, but also 11th Lord, occupying 4th house. 6 is supported by 4, but 11 is not supported. But 6 is not further supported by 12th house or 8th house here, but it is supported by 5th house. So it is a mixed significator. So Mars, 6, 11, 4 and 5, it is mixed. Mixed with the favorable grouping 11 and 5, 5th sublord. No, it is having on the higher side. Next come the Rahu. Rahu occupying Lagna, 5, 9 Star Lord and 11th sublord. It is good key planet, favorable key planet. Look at the second planet of the Rahu, 1, 4, 8, 2, 6 and 2. It is having 4, 8 and 6 also. But But one Lagna Lord having got these 2, 6, 2, it is having some mixed significations for the marriage, but it is the second planet. So it is not completely unfavorable. It is favorable with some weakness. So you can see this is also favorable, this is also favorable, this is also favorable. This favorable has got unfavorable 12th house, but this favorable planet has got some unfavorable grouping as the second planet. So there is a difference. This is stronger than Rahu. Then comes the Jupiter. Jupiter is seventh lord, 10th lord occupying fourth house. Lagna star lord and 10th sublord. So it is not having seventh lord itself is not having favorable grouping. I mean, good grouping, but having some weakness in its self signification, as we discussed under Jupiter. So this is not very good, but second planet Ketu is having good. So we can say it is not a favorable key planet. We can say it is a mixed key planet, but the two, this is also mixed, right? This is also mixed 6, 11, 4, 5. This mixed on the favorable side is higher. This is also mixed, but unfavorable side is higher. It is not unfavorable. Fair, I mean, it is not having unfavorable grouping. No 6, 8, 12 are coming, but 4, 10, 10 sublord is coming. So this mixed is weaker than this mix. That you have to understand. Next one is the Saturn. Saturn, 8th Lord, 9th Lord occupying 4th house and 10th star Lord. So 8th supported by 4, further supported by 10. But fortunately, it is not having 12th house or 6th house, which are all supporting to the unfavorable signification for the marriage. But look at the sublord, it is 1 and 7. Favorable to the 9th house, 9th Lord, 1 and 7 sublord. But it is having 8th sublord also. It means what? 7th cuspal sublord itself having some unfavorable grouping of houses for the marriage and also favorable grouping. But unfavorable grouping 8, 4, 10, 4, 8 are definitely causing some weakness, but not detrimental because it is not having these 8, I mean, 8 house is present, but 6 is not there, 12 is grouping is not there, but 1 and 7 cuspal sublord, 9th lord and 1 and 7 cuspal sublord. So in short, you can see it is also mixed key planet. It is mixed key planet. This is also mixed planets, key planet, because both are having the both favorable and unfavorable grouping. Then comes the Mercury. Mercury, as we discussed here, Lagna Lord having this. So this also we can say it is mixed. Second cuspal sublord, second star lord, all are okay. But 1, 4, 8, 6, it is having some weak grouping 4, 8, 6, and favorable grouping 1, 2, 2 are present, supported by the Rahu is good. So mixed one is Mercury is a mixed key planet supported by the Rahu, favorable key planet. So within mixed also there are many range. Within favorable also there are many range. But in that Venus and the Sun are very favorable, strong key planets. Then comes the Ketu, then comes the Rahu. So Ketu, Venus, Sun, and Rahu. Out of them, Venus and Sun, then comes Ketu, then comes Rahu. They are all coming under the favorable key planets. Of course, in Rahu also, we have got some weakness, but when compared to the other, mixed key planets, of course, Mars is also having some favorable grouping, but being the sixth lord occupying fourth house, that weakness is present. So these are the way we have to identify favorable or unfavorable or mixed. By start doing practice, you will be able to identify by looking at the houses. Yes, this planet is having favorable more with the grouping of favorable houses. This planet is unfavorable is more. This is unfavorable strongly. This is mixed key planet. That to give the importance to the seventh lord, seventh sublord, sixth lord, and sixth sublord. They're the primary favorable house. If you identify their self-strength, we can identify, we can find with this planet is favorable on its own or not. So that way we can identify the planet which are having key planets, favorable key planets in their star and sub, those planets will be favorable for the particular event. So for that, we can identify Venus is good, Sun is good, Ketu also good, then comes the Rahu. They are all favorable. Now, as I said, Venus is a free planet. So Venus, cannot act as the star lord for other planet. But you can see Venus is conjoined with the Sun and Mercury. So the planets which are all connected to the Venus is in the sign of Saturn, and so Saturn will get the support of Venus. Venus is conjoined, closely conjoined with Sun. That Sun will get the impact of the Venus, and Mercury also will get the impact of the Venus because that is also in the same sign. So that way, the planet can give its signification through their supports. Now we look at the unfavorable key planet. What is the unfavorable key planet? You can see Moon. Moon is unfavorable key planet for the marriage. So the planet which is in the nakshatra of Moon will get the impact of the Moon unfavorable directly. Apart from that, the planet which is conjoined with the Moon, Ketu. Ketu is having 7 and 9 favorable, but in its support, it is having unfavorable Moon. So automatically the favorable strength of the Ketu will get reduced by the Moon. Similarly, Moon in the Rasi of Jupiter. So Jupiter is having, already we said that it is a mixed one, but it is having Moon in its supports because Moon is occupying the sign of Jupiter. So Jupiter, seventh lord itself, will get the unfavorable impact of the Moon. And Moon is aspecting to Rahu by seventh aspect. So Rahu having favorable grouping in its self signification, that will get the impact of the Moon by aspect. So its favorable strength will get reduced by the, or will face obstacles by the Moon. So that way we can identify whether favorable key planets are further supported by the other favorable key planets or further, reduced by the other, unfavorable key planets. That way, when we are studying the key planets in the chart, while studying the chart for the event, for the destiny or predictions or Dasabuddhi predictions or timing of event, the role of key planets will be significantly playing an important role that we will be, experiencing when I'm going to explain in the further sessions about the timing of event and predictions with the case studies. So anyway, we will discuss the further lessons in the next class. Thank you.